everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bobble Pod. A very, very excited episode with a very exciting guest today. Today we've got Donya Broadhead, PPC Manager from Circus PPC. Say hello to everyone.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about 2024 versus 2025 with PPC, so pay per click. But before I begin, as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. If you're watching YouTube, hello YouTube. Please click on the bell notification. And if you can find it in your heart, because our follower numbers are going up after some controversial video snippets on TikTok, do visit at Mr. Bobble Official on TikTok and Instagram and, well, X Twitter, and give us a like and follow, please. Today we're going to be talking about 2024 versus 2025 with PPC, and we're really glad to have Donya Broadhead from Circus PPC. But please, can you do an introduction to our listeners and followers in terms of who you are and what you do?
Sure, yes. So I'm Donya from Circus PPC, and just to give you a bit of a background about myself, I first came across the market industry around 7 years ago when I was running my own business. It was a small e-commerce business selling beauty products, and I actually taught myself PPC and marketing. So to begin with, I was just selling across Amazon and eBay. Then I transitioned to a website. And that business didn't work, but during the process, one of the main things that I loved was the marketing side of things. So hence, I got into a marketing career. To begin with, I worked at an agency which was full service. So I was working in their paid media department, also across like out-of-home advertising, radio, TV. And then I decided I wanted to work for a like specialist PPC agency. Hence, here I am. Yeah, so at Circus, we work across a mixture of industries across lead gen and e-commerce.
Right. So what was the e-commerce company, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, the one that I was running for myself. So it was called Beauty Beloved.
Yeah. And what did that do? Was it beauty products, services?
Yes, so it was all beauty products. Like I was a retailer essentially. So there was all branded products that I was reselling.
And if you don't mind me asking, what happened with that? Why did that not kick off the way you wanted it to kick off?
So to begin with, it was doing really well. So I was selling across Amazon predominantly, using their fulfillment. So I had like a really good supplier in America. I'd get the products for a really good price. Yeah. I'd like box them all up, send them off, and Amazon would sell them. And this was when it was possible to get, it was called the buy box, where you would be the one where, you know, somebody one clicks, you've got that sale. Yeah. And it used to be easier for like third-party retailers to have that. And then Amazon swooped in and then they took over a lot of the buy box listings so that they make more. Of course they do. So that side of things went a little bit more difficult, a lot more competition. And then when I set up my own website and was selling through there, it was starting to do really well. But then it came up to the pandemic and it was the COVID time. Obviously, people were not wearing makeup as much. Everyone was just hiding behind the Zoom camera off. Yeah, camera off. Yeah, not out in the world as much. So I just made the decision that it was quite a lot. I found it stressful and it just didn't feel like the right time. So I just made the decision to.
Would you consider picking that up again at some point?
Do you know what? Not right now. I'm very happy, working as part of a team, because it was a very small business. There was just myself, so it was literally me, just in a room with lots of products most of the time, singing along to the radio, hoping for a friend. But I do really enjoy being part of a team and just working across bigger companies and getting that.
It can be lonely, Kai, when running a business, especially at that point. Talking about singing on the radio, we met Jojo, didn't we? Laura, the other day. I don't even know what she looked like, but I've heard her voice sometimes. You met her in the toilet. I think we'll just leave the conversation there about her introduction. But yeah, it's good to know, because I think some of our listeners will actually value that sometimes it's not always, rainbows when running a business. It can be lonely. Different things out of your control, like a pandemic, impacted so many businesses. Some businesses benefited. Circus PPC must have definitely benefited with everyone going online. I know we did, because that's when we actually turned into an agency model from a consultancy, as I actually started hiring staff in 2020. Thanks for sharing your actual career journey into that. So how long have you been with Circus PPC?
So I've been with Circus about 3 years now. So we started off as an executive, then moved up to an analyst, and I've recently been promoted to PPC Manager.
Oh, congratulations, well done. Circus, we have a friendly rivalry with, especially in the SERPs. Because you guys are always trying to take our organic position 1. But it's like, you're already bidding on it. Leave us alone. You know, I've defended that position 1 PPC agency leads organically for 3 years. But every time I look, there's Circus number 2 trying to constantly take our number 1 spot. It's like, you're bidding on the term anyway. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. But it's good. It's friendly. But we've got James. He's got some good questions that he's going to ask us. So it's probably a good time to bring in James. James is with us.
Thank you. Hi, Donya. Nice to meet you. I'm James. I'm like the brains of the operation. Can I just say what a lovely name Donya is? What a really unusual and just really nice name it is. So how do you two know each other?
We don't. This is the first time we've met. So actually, we've been trying to get Circus to talk about PPC on our podcast for a lot more because we can talk about it, but then it's also like, yeah, but you're saying it because it's just your agency and you're going to say what, you know, you want people to hear. No. We're saying what everybody else is saying, and that's the whole point. And PPC, it's all about collaboration more than anything else, especially when you go into forums and stuff, and then when you attend events, you'll see people from other agencies, because Google Partner, Premier Partner, Google Premier Partner, etc. So it's good to kind of collaborate and get insights from others, because you can look at things in a different way. They might be working in industries you're not, and they might have some insights that we could use. It's healthy competition, not elements, so we're not here to step on their toes and vice versa. But I met your owner at the Marketing Showcase event and recommended why don't they come on and speak, but then we paused everything, as you know. They were actually meant to talk earlier in the year, and we had actually Circus PPC ready to come in and talk in February, but because I put a pause on recordings after January with everything that went on, please see episodes 1 and 2 of this season, we did it, but then the team reached out again saying, oh, you're back with a podcast. I was like, yeah, let's get you back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's nice. It's always good to see collaboration over competition and all that kind of stuff. Give us a bit of a year in review then with regards to PPC. What's 2024 looked like?
Do you want to kick off?
Yeah, sure. It's been an ever-changing year, I'd say. Yeah, that's one thing with PPC. It never stays static, but I love that. You know, I think it's not an industry where you learn it and you just, you know, it stays the same. I love that everything's changing. It's dynamic. One thing that I'd say, which I've been impressed with this year, is Performance Max. So that's Google's AI solution where, you know, you upload your assets, your products, it runs across search, display, shopping, video. And this came out around 2 years ago, which was a huge black box. You know, you spend a lot on it, but you didn't really get much insight there. Whereas this year, Google's brought out a lot of updates, you know, a lot more visibility, a lot more control, which has really helped to drive performance. Yeah. Something I was quite impressed with was the brand exclusions, because it's been well known that PMax loves to over-rely on brand. Yeah. So, yeah, just having that.
Yeah, and retargeting now within PMax, reporting on that matched audiences. The reporting features that have come out for PMax has been really, really good. And then the results we're seeing. So PMax was an evolution from, so we used to have shopping campaigns, and then it went to smart campaigns and smart shopping, and then that's all kind of gone. And it was replaced by PMax, and Smart only lasted, a year to 2 years, if that, and then had the smart bidding. So Google really changed direction quickly, because I think we were still seeing better results from manual shopping campaigns when they introduced Smart. And I think PMax has been actually quite an interesting insight to house. It helps a lot more small businesses that really need to push out brand and performance at the same time. I think because you have to add in, how many is it? 12 videos and like 15 images. But it's not keyword intent focused, but it's more audience signal focused. Don't know if you'd agree with that. So that's where the display and then the YouTube elements of it come into. So it's, if you can utilize all of Google's products in one, that's what PMax is.
Any negatives from this year? Any bad stuff?
The list is endless, Dan.
We got enough time.
We could do a whole podcast on that. There's been a lot of positives, but I think one of the key cons really is I think it's just the support and the verification form and the amount of times it comes up now. I don't see if you find it, but the financial verification form and the identity, which you have to do. The biggest issue has been the cookie bot issues with the V2 update.
Oh, definitely.
And the support team, I've got 4 or 5 already there. Like the support team from Google is just dog shit. I'm going to be honest with you. They got rid of 12 to 15,000 employees over the last 2 years. You used to have back in the day, a dedicated account manager for an agency, and they would be your main point of contact, and you could get things done. Like if you had a concern or an issue, get things done. Now, not even recently, they've just announced, where you get ad credit if you're a brand new ad account. Now you have to pick a tier. It's like, what the hell's going on? It's just the amount of support you get has gone down as an agency, and they're automating everything. And the biggest con is the amount of calls we get from the overseas support team. And it's like, you the Google Ads manager for so-and-so ad account? It's like, no, go away. And it's like the recommendations are just based on the optimization score within the platform, half of which you can dismiss and still get 100% optimization score. It's just not relevant. The optimization score within Google is all about you spending more money in Google. It's got nothing to do with really optimizing the platform. Do you agree with that one?
Oh, I totally agree. And I have heard, don't know if it's 100% true, but if certain things are ticked off, then it leads to like bonuses on their side. So it's in their interest to get everything ticked off. Yeah,
so it's in their interest to show that they've got more money going to the account and more things ticked off from these optimization scores. And I'm like, we read these, we see them. You can see we've dismissed them because they're not relevant. And it's irrelevant. I don't know if you see it, but it's like there'll be keyword recommendations there that are just not relevant. And it's like, no, we're not going to add that as a broad match term. You might be saying recommended ads as a broad match term, but there's a reason we're not going after that as a broad match term, because it could be budget. We don't have the budget capacity just for that specific keyword that's very competitive to spend £3-4 on a CPC for that one. When we're seeing better results and conversions come from more low-hanging fruit in terms of keyword optimization.
Okay. What about your respective, I'll say personal highlights? Doesn't have to be highlights, just stuff that you've worked on, campaigns that you've worked on that are worth highlighting.
Ooh, I don't mind going first in this one. I think which one do I pick? I think for us it's been, there's a couple of clients that we brought in. I'm going to say Meridian Granite is a really good one. Worktop company based locally. We started working with them actually a year ago. They did so much good stuff out of home in terms of brand, and they invested heavily in their brand. You actually might see the Meridian Granite ads while we drive around Leeds on like billboards and stuff. And we went in and they weren't doing anything from a performance perspective, but now PPC's like, contributing towards like 34% of the actual leads that come in. So when you can show someone that actually you've got a good brand here, but you're not maximizing the digital performance of it, it shows how important brand and performance need to go hand in hand. So I think that's been a good one because we're achieving so many good leads at such a low budget as well. And we've grown that account and then go into like paid social, and now we've just pitched SEO as well, where we expect to be signed off. So that's what I love. I like seeing an account go from nothing to them saying, actually, this is now such a key element of the business in terms of driving leads and quotes for them and getting them converted and signed off. To the point where even though they had less leads, I think in August, which is quite period, the value of leads that have come through have been significantly improved. So their number of conversions actually year on year are down, but the value of revenue is up. Right. So it's been more quality over quantity. And that probably comes from the fact that we're more detailed targeting with PMAX campaigns and, specific search queries around people looking for certain types of, Granite elements. So that's been one highlight of many this year. How about you, Donya?
Oh, yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing. That's interesting. Yeah, one particular campaign that I worked on, which I did see quite good performance, was, so we have a business which is a subscription-based business. So they've got such a good internal conversion rate. So once they can get people in on a sample, then they convert most of them into like long-term subscribers. And they were really looking to grow that sample base. So what we did is we used the Performance Max campaign, which had it's a fairly new feature, new customer acquisition, where you can set the campaign to only go after new customers. And we were able to scale up the samples, which in turn led them to scale up their subscriptions, move to a double space warehouse. So that was really good to see how we could use quite a new feature to help them achieve their long-term goals.
And what do they do? I'm intrigued.
So they do laundry subscriptions.
Laundry?
Yeah.
Laundry subscription.
Are they laundry tablets or
laundry sheets?
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought you meant like you send them your washing and they do it and post it back to you.
Well, that would be good.
Don't know why my brain decided that was the avenue to explore on that one.
That's what happens in Dubai.
They
come pick it up.
Right.
You call them and you have a bag ready. They take it and they bring it back, and then they come with a card machine and you pay on your door when it's done. It's mad.
Oh, right. Okay, that is really... And is it not the norm to have your own washing machine then in Dubai? Do people not do that?
No, there's laundrettes. There's loads of laundrettes. Wow. Like loads of laundrettes out there. Like you literally walk down the building, and most buildings will have like assigned. You can have your own, and people do have their own washing machines and stuff, but it's convenience. It's like, right, I'll just give it to them. I'll get them to pick up in the morning, iron this suit and everything, and it'll be back and ready, and then you just hang it up, and then it's just convenience.
Well, thank you for joining us for the Laundry News podcast. Well, slight tangent there. Yeah. Let's look ahead then. Let's look ahead to 2025. Predictions, what do you think will happen in the PPC world next year? Manny?
I see a lot of CPC rising. Actually, it's just come out in terms of update. We were talking about this literally this morning. Even though PMAX is stable, CPCs are going up. So what you're going to start seeing is your cost per click going up. So your cost per conversion will start going up. Your conversion rate will slightly start to reduce. And then clients are start asking the question, why is it going up? But it's all economical in terms of what's going on. So I think that is the biggest trend we're going to see is the cost of CPCs going up. Now, it's going to vary by industry and sector, but we know that Google are cheeky, and they will only after the quarter announce the increase in CPC. So you've done a great job in your ad account, but the client might not be happy because the cost per lead's 5% higher that quarter than the quarter before, but that's because Google increased their CPCs by 10%. You see, so we're at the mercy of Google with a lot of things they do. I think one of the good things is they've reversed the decision on cookies being removed. Yeah. So that kind of really helps. I think there's a shake-up of auction dynamics coming through for standard shopping campaigns. So I think that'll be quite interesting. I'm putting quite a lot together because at the start of the year, I always do my top 10 or 8 digital trends, and I'm going to be talking about a few things within Google on that one, just waiting for Google to kind of announce a few things more than anything else.
Okay. Donya, what are your kind of predictions for 2025?
One thing I do predict happening is just AI continuing to dominate the industry, take over. Before you know it, we'll have robots that they're running the accounts for us.
We nearly made it through 20 minutes without mentioning AI. We got so close.
So yeah, I do see that continuing to be a big part of it. But, I think it's, about embracing it as well, and, not seeing it as the enemy, and just working with AI to help get those better results and using it to automate things where possible. So I definitely see that being a big part. Something else which I do see happening is typically across Google Shopping, a lot of the targets have been around return on ad spend. I'd say that's been predominantly one of the big measures there. But I do see that switching over to a lot more POAS, which is profit on ad spend bidding, that was something that was announced at the Google Marketing Live, and it's it's something that can help drive more profit as opposed to.
Do you think, because they've been talking about phrase match keywords become redundant, but they're still there. Do you see that going in 2025?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my...
Yeah, because we've been talking about, because every time we come into an ad account, we tell clients have less reliance on phrase match keywords, focus more on broad and exact match. But we say we'll continue to use phrase match keywords whilst it's still available. But it's been a while since they put in this sphere that phrase match is going, but there's still no official date, is there? I haven't heard one.
No, I've not heard anything official, but I do predict it's coming. And the thing is, exact is more like phrase now, so exact is no longer exact. Yeah.
I think the other thing though is the reason why CPCs are probably going to go up is because you've got platforms like TikTok and like Meta doing more interesting things with their ads. So like on TikTok, we can target by search terms, by what people are typing in. And if you look at TikTok, people will type in specific videos or elements or content, but all around the hashtag. But within like Meta ads, which is something new, is you've got site links in Google Ads. You've got site links now on Meta ads.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something that we've been talking about and pushing out, and we did a social post about this. But it's just something that's only been recent, like a good month or so. But you've got an ad and you've got a call to action, but then you've got like site links where you can drive into other things. So, social is becoming a lot more search focused in terms of like I see a lot more keyword intent coming into it, which is why I'm not surprised how well PMax is doing from an AI perspective in terms of what Google's doing, because they're trying to stay relevant in terms of maximizing the full platform. Because I don't know if this stat is correct, but I think around about 52% of all global ad spend goes to Google. Wow. And that's all of global ad spend. So they take more than half. Just over half of all global ad spend, because it's not just Google. It's like you got YouTube, which is the second biggest search platform after Google, owned by Google. So, 9 out of 10 searches are done on Google globally. On desktop, it's 9 out of 10. On mobile, it's like 94%. So, when you look at the stats of that sense, they're a monopoly, Google. So their biggest competitors aren't going to be like Bing. It's going to be TikTok, Meta, essentially, as the main challenges to that market.
I've enjoyed this chat so far. If there's one thing that I feel we've not done enough of, it's Google bashing. So let's go back to that. Is there anything that you would really, really like? I think you can go back to maybe stuff that was mentioned earlier on and elaborate on it if you want, or anything that's not come up. Anything that you would like to see Google get rid of?
Their sales team that constantly calls us. We don't need them. I think focus more on agency relationships like you used to.
Yeah.
Google, I get it from your point of view. It's all automation. It's all streamlining. They're owned by Alphabet now. Makes a lot more sense. It's all investor focused. It's all becoming AI focused. Their algorithms are so sophisticated compared to any other algorithm, compared to Meta and let's say TikTok or LinkedIn. But what I'd like to see them get rid of is, people calling up on random ad accounts just to get more spend. It's unethical. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Invest into agencies, because agencies invest into the next generation of talent, and we're training them up. Remember when they used to do the Google workshops and they used to go down, it's like they used to invest so much into agencies, don't. So get rid of these stupid sales calls from India and asking us to, make basic changes on an ad account. And because it's unfair to the client, it's wrong. I think if they call a client who doesn't understand, you understood PPC when you came on this podcast, I explained, you learned about it. But if you didn't know about that, and now let's say someone from Google calls you now, do you think that would have benefited your e-commerce brand or not?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
You're worried.
So a lot of smaller companies that try and spend money in your platform are put off by your sales team, or put off from investing into Google, because these recommendations are, like I said, BS, not relevant, increases their spend, and they're not getting the return from it. Instead, some salesperson is getting a commission because they got you to tick a few boxes and implement automated recommendations, which is, we tell everyone to turn that off. Don't have automated recommendations. So this automation and sales element, just get rid of it, Google. It's not needed. It's actually doing your company more damage in terms of reputation, as well as you're taking advantage of small businesses. And I'm being transparent that you are abusing small businesses that don't know it. And a big chunk of their revenue will come from small businesses spending maybe $1,000 a month or £500 a month here. But if you times that by like tens of thousands just in the UK, then you look at the global reach of Google, how much they're probably making in terms of just from small ad accounts. They're abusing their position to those small businesses. So get rid of the sales team, bring back in people that support agencies or big companies directly that are Google partners and Premier partners, and actually offer training and support to, actual business owners. Take them on a Google workshop or a digital garage instead. Invite them in, to your company and show small businesses what they could do and how they can, upskill if they can't afford an agency. But it's better than the sales team that you tell them to call up, because they're not providing any value at all to them. To the point where when they call them, we're like, stop calling our office. Like literally. And you can't even turn it off, can you?
No, because they call from different numbers, withheld numbers.
It's crafty. Donya, anything from you in terms of things that you'd like to see? I mean, I guess either like to see Google get rid of, or maybe anything that you'd like to see Google introduce and bring in. Anything new that you'd like to see from Google?
Something that I would like to see is just more insight into search terms data, because recently, especially over this year, there's more and more search terms now that will be categorized as other search terms, and you've got no visibility over, how much you're spending per click, what they are. So I would like to see that mask removed a little bit, just so we've got a bit more insight into, what's actually working, keywords, conversions, conversion rates. Because, I still feel like there's quite a lot, even though we're getting more visibility across some channels, still quite a lot hidden.
Yeah, I'd like to just see them just provide more data of Google Ads in GA4. If this GA4's come in, it's just been a bit of pain. GA4 is better, don't get me wrong, but it's the views of certain things is a lot more difficult. I'm still not happy with the attribution modeling they have in place, because you've got GA4 key events, which shows a completely different story to obviously multi-touch events that we set up within the conversion actions of Google Ads. And then you've got you see it 60.76 of the conversion. And kind of like, what's 0.76? Why have we got 0.76? It's just a percentage allocated towards a touch point within that journey. So they probably either clicked on that ad at some point, but then gone directly to your site later and converted. So in GA4, Direct's got the conversion, but Google Ads is saying, no, we contributed towards that conversion as a percentage towards the conversion action. And I think that skews up numbers and realisms. I think that's elements. And I'd probably get rid of manual CPCs now. I don't know if they're needed. A lot of bid strategy a lot of it is automated now within budgets. I just don't see the need for manual CPCs anymore. Do you even use manual CPCs on accounts?
Sometimes, very occasionally, if it's quite a small budget and it's not got enough data to switch it over to an automated bidding strategy just to get it going, but very rarely these days.
Yeah, I'd look at, still giving us control, but I just don't get it anymore. So that's something I'd like to see. Maybe bring back old text ads so we had more control over headlines and descriptions instead of making us come on more. I don't know. But I think compared to 2024, 2025, Johnny Tony I think costs are going to go up in general. But I think there's going to be some new good features coming out, but just get rid of the sales team and the optimization score. It has no value to it. Engage more with agencies. And engage more with small businesses directly instead of through a sales call team. I think that will do Google a lot better, because I know, do you guys do any paid social ads?
Not at the moment.
No.
Yeah, we did.
So the meta support is just as bad.
Right.
Worse.
Which is worse. Meta's just terrible. A lot of it's bot and responses. Yeah, Meta, you can't even get into everything. Yeah, it's just, it is. And we're frustrated, and we manage like 20 plus, ad accounts on just Meta. Imagine how an individual business that doesn't know how to do any of this struggles. So the support is something I want to see become a lot more better. Give agencies dedicated account managers, again, please, for the love of God, use us a dedicated account manager. So we can just go to one person with any specific problem and they can direct us to the right person.
Okay.
And I guarantee you'll get more money from agencies, and you'll get more appetite from agencies to want to spend within Google Ads, because sometimes it gets frustrating by channel, by client, really.
We are nearly out of time. One more question from me, which is, if there's someone who is thinking about adding PPC into their strategy for 2025, give us a couple of things each that you think they should be looking at, things that they should be considering, perhaps even in terms of what they should be thinking about from a budget point of view.
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Yeah, sure. So something I would recommend for next year is to look at a full funnel strategy, because it can be very easy to just think, okay, I want to get into PPC, I want to go after the low hanging fruit, the lower funnel, search, maybe shopping, PMax. But I would recommend to look at the full funnel, testing demand gen, which is a fairly new Google Ads feature that runs across like display, video. So just making sure that you're capturing that whole funnel and working on brand awareness as well as the lower funnel. And I think something that is so essential is to just allocate enough budget to test, especially in the early days if you're just going into PPC. It's a lot of learning. You need to make sure that you've got enough to feed the algorithms and enough budget available to test and learn. 10
to 14 days learning phase. You can't just go in and constantly keep making changes just because you don't see the resources. You let the algorithm learn. You need to let it take. Patience is key. We've had that with a couple of clients. It's frustrating. It's like, no, patience is key. Understand it, essentially. For me, if they say they're already doing something like SEO, but they're not doing PPC and they're looking to introduce PPC, I'd be like, you've already done the keyword research in terms of what you're ranking for, want to rank for. So use PPC to bridge the gap where you're not position one. Case in example, Circus, where the bid at the top of page for PPC agency leads, but the position two, sorry. But that is a great example of you've struggled to get to position one. The smart thing to do then is, right, let's bid, because we're not going to bid for it because we have position one. I don't need to bid for it. But I guarantee you that you're probably still getting more leads than me because you're bidding on it in elements. But to me, it's one out of 6 services we offer. So why would I need to do that? So just be smart, because the question around that is, how much should they budget for? Now, there's no answer to that. So you need budget for testing. You need budgets to trial. You need to introduce PMax. If there's any kind of fundamental, you need money for PMax, search, retargeting, and then maybe some matched audiences and some testing, because some bids are going to be inflated at broad match level, and even at exact match level, the CPC can get quite high, and it really depends by industry. But we don't really manage any ad spend below £1,500 to £2,000 a month, because based on our minimum fees, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's why we're like, no, anything below that we're not going to really touch, because it's not enough money for us to be able to do the things we need to do and learn and adapt. If you're going to only spend 500, 600 quid on Google Ads, you're not going to get much out of it unless you're very specifically niched down into a couple of ad groups or campaigns, and that's it. For example, you're a law firm that only does wills and probates, then that's easier, because all you're going to do is target in wills near me or probate services near me. There's your 2 campaigns, ad groups. They're very simple and easy to manage, and you can manage CPC bid by geolocation at a lower level.
Right.
So budget is, what do you want to see as a return on it? Do you guys have minimums in terms of spends that you recommend?
Normally we have about a minimum spend of between 5,000 upwards. Yeah, again, similarly, just so you've got enough budget available to test, and you have to, show your ads all day.
Yeah. So like I said, because we have clients that split budgets across SEO services at a time, then paid social. But paid social isn't just one channel. It could be TikTok, LinkedIn, Meta. X, Pinterest, Snapchat, its budget gets diluted very quickly.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go into Google Ads and invest in PPC, it's like once you get through some learnings on PPC, then you've got Bing, which is like 1 in 10 search as well. So you want to allocate some budget to that as well. PPC isn't just Google, it's also Bing. But the good thing about Bing, and I've mentioned this before, is you can overlay LinkedIn targeting options against your search terms, which is you can target, especially from a B2B perspective, you can actually implement LinkedIn audience segments into your search campaign, which you can't do on Google, which is like a USP for almost like Bing because you're on LinkedIn. And now you can import PMax elements into Bing as well, which you have to double check. So Bing is literally almost like the Aldi version of Coke. You know what I mean? It literally is. The only way to explain it, it's like I like this one, but I also like this one. But then again, everything that's all right, because Aldi's actually got some good quality stuff. So,
the Aldi version of Coke.
Yeah. It's like the knockoff version, essentially. It does the same thing, it's just branded differently, and you don't really spend much money on it.
I mean, I can't think of a better note to finish on.
Yeah. So, sorry. But thank you, Donya. It's been an absolute pleasure for you sharing your insights. I'd highly recommend you guys follow Circus PPC and their socials. They always come out with some really good insights and trending topics on that. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, Donya, for having us and for joining us. And we look forward to sharing this online and the snippets, etc. And if you need any help, give us a call. Thank you for listening.